Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to another episode of Manifesting Muslimah. I'm your host, Zara Pedersen, and in today's episode, I'm going to share with you one thing that I do after every salah that has just made my salah that much more impactful, that much made me feel that much more inclined to go and pray, and help me also stay connected during my prayer. And it's a very, very, very simple thing. You're going to be like, Zara, really? But not enough people do it. And when I started doing it, as I said, it literally changed everything for me. Before we go into today's episode, I recognize now that I'm thinking about it that this episode is probably going to come out before the year is over. And because of that, 2025, by the way, in case you're listening further out into the future, hi from the past. I recently got my Spotify Wrapped. I know. I had to look at it, but like for my podcast, not for like the music. I also got from like the music and stuff that I listen to and podcasts and stuff that I listen to, but I got it for the podcast itself. And I just want to say a great big thank you. I was looking at my Spotify Wrapped for Manifesting Muslim Mother podcast, and one slide after the other, I just couldn't stop smiling, and my heart just continuously was just like, I felt so grateful for all of you who are listening in from countries, some countries that I haven't even heard of before, are listening into this podcast. And some of you, like, there's how many did it say? 150 of you have Manifesting Muslimah as your number one podcast that you're listening to, which is just mind boggling to me. I'm I've said before a few times that having a podcast, especially when you're a single person doing it, or like a single entrepreneur, can very much feel like, you're just sitting alone in a room talking into a microphone and hoping that somebody resonates with it. Yeah, I'm sitting outside now, but it's the same thing. Like, I'm sitting all alone. There's nobody around me other than like the animals, but it can feel quite lonely sometimes. It can feel, I don't want to say silly, but like it can feel like, oh, like, because I'll sit here and I'll tell a story and then I'll laugh with myself, or then I'll get emotional and stuff. And it's just like you're sitting all alone in a room talking into space, you know? And so every time like I get either a message from you guys or a comment or somebody says something or shares my podcast on socials and stuff, just know that it means a great big deal to me. It's not just like a, oh yeah, here's another person. Like, it's like a, oh yeah, by the way, like, people actually listen to it and people appreciate that I create this content on a regular basis and the topics that I speak about. And for whatever reason, some of you want to hear these things from me, and I just want you to know that I'm extremely honored. I'm so grateful, and I'm just so thankful to all of you. And I love all of you who take the time to listen to it, because I know time is so precious and valuable. And to even to give somebody, like a complete stranger online in a different country, 30 minutes of your day to listen to what they have to say, I mean, I can't even think about it too much because I'll just get emotional again, but it really means a lot. So just thank you so very much. Even if I wasn't your number one podcast this year, if I was even just a podcast that you listen to, I wasn't in the top 10, not in anything specific, just thank you for taking the time to listen to the podcast. It means so much to me, and I do not take it for granted. And I genuinely just hope that I can continue making podcast episodes that resonate with you. That's the one. That, oh wow, that was a big old wind gust. You could probably hear that right in the microphone because that was quite a bit. But I hope I can continue making content that you're proud of, that you want to listen to, that creates reflections within you, that can help you elevate, have new thoughts, learn new things. And yeah, I just wanted to say thank you before we begin. Anyway, so let's get into the actual topic of today's episode. Let's not get too gushy here. Like, we're not here for that. So Salah. I have had quite a few comments and messages from a few of you saying, like, how do I, connect in my salah, feel distant in my salah? It's easy for me to skip a salah. Like, oh, I feel lazy around doing my salah. I'm trying to rush my salah. Like, there's a lot of things that happen for a lot of people around salah. And first off, before I even like get into what I want to say, is I just want to make sure that you understand that it is completely normal. Salah is a constant. It's every single day. Yes, as women, we have, 5, 7 days, 3 days, however many days you have in the month where you don't make salah. And of course, if you're traveling on top of that, or if you're sick, yes, of course, you take those days off as well, or at least you're exempt from praying. But it is every day. And to do something that is not just like I have to press a button every single day. You have to physically prepare for it, you have to dress for it, you have to physically move your body, recite certain things. It's not like, while it is an quote unquote easy thing to do, it is also quote unquote not an easy thing to do, because it does require some effort. It's not just a going through the motions kind of thing. It's also your intention going into salah. It is also your mind. Where are you when you're praying? Are you thinking about your long list of to-dos? Are you thinking about the argument you just had? Are you thinking about the pain in your foot? Are you annoyed with the kids or the TV running in the background? There are so many things that go into a really good salah. And I'm not one to tell you what a good salah is, by the way. I'm just saying that I understand that there is such a thing as a bad salah and a good salah. And I'm saying that because I know that there can be an improvement in salah, which means that there is ultimately something known as a better salah. Like, you can have really good salahs. Okay, so, but please don't ask me what the difference is, because I can't say. Only Allah knows. Okay, so just putting that out there. Okay, sorry, I just completely whacked the table and made the camera shake. Okay. So I just wanted to put that out there before anything else, because while you may be like, oh, but I had such a connection, a month ago, and now I feel like, don't worry, sis, it's okay. And the fact that you know that and you recognize that is a beautiful, wonderful step, because it means that Allah is putting it in your heart to constantly wanting to connect with Him, to constantly wanting to create that bond with Him, to constantly wanting to seek Him out again. And really, that is a beautiful blessing. So, the fact that you understand that, I feel a little lost in my salah or something, that is actually a blessing in disguise, because it's the warning, right? It's that little sort of like, hey, heads up, by the way, pay attention, let's get back into like what actually matters. So one thing that I started doing, I don't actually remember when. I feel like it actually happened shortly after my divorce, when I moved to Spain. And I decided that I wanted to take my salah more seriously, but because before that I was sort of like more of a sporadic salah prayer person. I don't know what it's called. Um, and I remember I was still struggling with it, but I could feel the value of my salah, in that whenever I prayed, I felt amazing and I had great days, and my mental health was better. I just overall feel better. I'm sure you can relate to that as well. Like, when we're praying, we feel our best and we live our best lives at the same time. Um, but I was still struggling, because it was still like a new thing to me, to wanting to come to prayer every single day. And one thing that I found myself doing was, I would guilt myself so hard and shame myself so hard whenever I didn't pray. And I would, I'll just be really hard on myself for in those moments. And I just remember thinking, this is not conducive. Like, it's not helping me with anything. It's making me feel worse, because it's, you know, it puts me in that situation of like, oh, well, I'm already bad, so I might as well, like, one foot in, might as well put my whole body in. Like, it's the whole throw the baby out with the bathwater kind of situation that the guilt would make me feel. And so I was like, this is not really conducive to me. So I need to find a different way to approach salah and to view salah. And one thing that I started doing, where after I prayed, was, how can I turn this into a positive experience now? It's not like, not just like for the sake of I prayed, but in my mindset as well. And I just started sort of like, kind of intuitively. I didn't really think about this too much at the time, but I just started thanking Allah for the prayer, thanking Allah for calling me to that prayer, making it easy for me to come to that prayer, thanking Him for giving me one more prayer. So I would just kind of, every time I finished my salah, I would just kind of like 2 seconds, and it literally is that simple. And I know it sounds so basic, but I would just say thank you, and I would say it out loud. I wouldn't just think it. I know Allah, of course, can hear it and stuff, and He knows, but I would make a point of physically out loud saying thank you. and just sitting in that gratitude of, hey, I just prayed another prayer. And one thing that did was, while I can still feel guilt and shame and all those things if I'm missing a salah here and there, I'm focusing on, but Allah's given me these other prayers. So I'm focusing on the positive rather than the negative, because the focus on the negative is going to keep me stuck in the negative. Very much manifestation over here, okay? I mean, we're not moving away from that. But it's very much a changing my perception around, instead of all the things that I don't do, the things that I do. So, I'm sorry. So it's changing my perspective to focus on the positive rather than the negative. Focus on what you're putting in instead of what you forgot. I don't know if that's a thing, but and it completely changed the way that I approach my salah now. And it's making me want to come to prayer more often. Also because in the time that I started doing that up until now, it's been like, what, 3 years or something at this point. Oh my god, time flies. In that time, I've also now like grown more in my deen and with my relationship with Allah and with my salah and in my understanding of salah and just generally my understanding of Islam and education and stuff. And one thing that is sort of added to it now is that it's not just like, thank you because you make me come to prayer, but for giving me one more prayer. And that's a big one for me, because I believe it was in one of Omar Suleiman's episodes of the Ramadan series last year or this year in 2025. Or otherwise, it might have been one of his regular episodes. I actually can't remember which one it was, but there was in one of his episodes where he was speaking about Salah. And I'm sure he's mentioned it, or he has actually in fact referenced it a few times in some of his podcast episodes, but about how we're going to regret the ones that we didn't pray, the salahs that we didn't pray, and it's going to be a time. And in fact, I also recently learned that on Judgment Day, which of course we know is going to take more than one day, it's going to take 50,000 years, there's eras for like chapters, so to speak, of Judgment Day. So there's a chapter where we do this, there's a chapter where this happens, there's a chapter where that happens, and one of those chapters is the regret of not praying, the dhikr that we missed, all of those things, like where we could have done these things in salutation to Allah, or to remember Allah, and we for whatever reason didn't do it. That there's a whole chapter of Yawm al-Qiyamah where it is pretty much just solely dedicated to missed opportunities. But the same, being in barzakh, before Judgment Day, laying in barzakh and thinking about your life and thinking about those salahs that you didn't pray. And oh my goodness, I might have to go inside for the next episode, because it's really starting to like blow really hard now, like with the wind. But anyway, we're out here now, so we're going to finish this one out here now. We're going to soldier on, ladies. We're going to do it. We're going to do it. But yeah, so we're going to be in the barzakh, and we're going to think about like, oh, right before I died, I said to myself, oh, I'll pray this prayer tomorrow, or I'm going to postpone it to later, because right now I'm just going to finish watching this TikTok. I don't know. But generally speaking, let's be real, it's silly things sometimes. It's not because we're literally standing in the middle of a queue or something in public. Sometimes it is literally just for the silliest things that we choose to postpone our salah or to skip it or whatever. And yeah, this human, but it's those things that we're going to like remember as well in barzakh. And how we approach that last salah as well, in how we're going to remember it. Like, did I rush through that salah? Did I take my time? Was I present? Was I thinking about messaging somebody back or commenting on somebody's TikTok or something while I was praying? Or, and those are the things that we're going to remember. So now my thank you has also evolved to I started off just saying thank you and sort of like letting what was in my heart sort of say the rest, because of course Allah knows. But to now saying thank you for allowing me one more salah, thank you for giving me one more salah, because that as well has also changed sort of the urgency in praying my salah. So I stopped postponing and pushing it and saying, oh, I can do it another time. Well, nothing happened last time I didn't pray, so I guess I can just go skip another day, like that kind of thinking. Um, and I know it sounds so minuscule to take literally 2 seconds, and say thank you. And just staying there in that second, in that thank you, directing it directly towards Allah, thank you, and then finishing your prayer and getting up. I don't make a single prayer without saying thank you. That includes the prayers that I pray when I'm, in Umrah, when I was in Medina and Mecca. That includes those prayers. Not a single prayer goes without a thank you. And truly, the way that it has changed my perspective on Salah, the way that I approach it, my awareness. And I think this one is such a big one because I think we can all relate to, you know, for many of us, the Salah is really often the only times during the day where there's sort of like that calm and peace. And if you're anything like me with a mind that's like ADHD and runs 1,000 miles an hour, that moment of quiet where, you turn off the music or you turn off the podcast or you stop writing the thing you were writing or working or speaking or whatever, and then you're standing in silence and you're reciting, your mind starts having thoughts about everything, and it remembers everything that you missed, everything you got to do. Did I ever respond to that message? Did I do the laundry? What time is it? Am I in a rush? Da, 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 da. And it's normal, by the way. First of all, it's normal, so don't shame yourself for it, but always strive to do better, of course. And again, by saying thank you at the end of my salah, it reminds me, be present, because you've got to thank Allah for this prayer as well. So he's giving you this prayer, so how are you showing up in this prayer? Because that's the other thing, the thank you is also like, thank you for allowing me to show up, thank you for giving me that focus, that peace of mind, because those things also can come from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So it's also just helped me stay focused in my salah, because I now value it not so much as something that's just got to be done, but as something that is very integral for oh my goodness, you scared me. I'm sure you heard that in the microphone. That was Twinkle deciding to bark at God knows what. Oh no, she scared the cats. Nubbin, it's okay. It was Twinkle. Yeah. Poor Nubbin. And Romeo, he fully ran somewhere. I know, stay down there. I'm so sorry, completely threw me off. Oh no! I completely threw me off what I was saying. The awareness and being present. Yeah, so it's not just a question of things that has to be done in my day and just like ticked off and just kind of move on to the next thing. It's very much the foundation of how the rest of my day goes. So my salah now is a point of like, how I show up to my salah is how the rest of my day is going to go and how Allah shows up for me. So again, it's the thank you at the end of my salah encompasses so very much. And it works as a physical reminder to myself. So it's no longer just like I have this knowledge, so I understand this theoretically speaking, but it also becomes a physical manifestation of the understanding of that knowledge, of having that knowledge to begin with. I know this. And so instead of kind of ignoring it and saying, I know that somewhere in the back of my head the theory is there, I know people keep saying these things, I acknowledge it every single time after my salah out loud, because it helps keeping me accountable. Again, I know it's such a small thing, but I urge you to try and do this in your own words, in the way that you want to do it. It doesn't have to be thank you. You can make a whole spiel, like you can say a whole story, you can add more things, you can say it in a different way, but try and do this at the end of your salah. Acknowledge that you're not owed this salah by Allah, that he is granting you a lot of mercy in giving you and a lot of blessing in saying, I give you another prayer. I'm allowing you to come to prayer, that he is calling you to that prayer, that you have the time for that prayer, all of those things. Acknowledge it in however you want to acknowledge it. And if you're stuck for words, you can literally just do as I do and just say thank you. And then at some point you can start building onto it. And if you want to, like me, thank you for giving me one more prayer. But it doesn't have to be in Arabic, it doesn't have to be eloquent, it doesn't have to be anything other than coming from a genuine place from your heart directly to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Anyway, that is what I wanted to share with you today. I hope that you could take the benefit of this. I know it's such a small thing, but it has done so much to change my salah for me. And if it can do the same for you, then I genuinely hope that this is a beneficial episode for you. All right, my darling, I will see you inshallah in next week's episode. But until then, my darling friend, please don't forget to live in love.